Morning. Hi. Good morning. Myself and Johnny Doe at Johnny Doe here, we collectively decided that the last upload of the year will now become the fleet update instead of the first upload of the year. So that's what today is going to be, the fleet update.
It's snowing. But just because we're doing the fleet update today and it's snowing out, that does not mean there's any excuse to not get out and do a run. Hey, how's it going?
I'm proud of this calendar.
Now, before we get started, I think it's worth mentioning the fleet looks a little different these days. No doubt in the last year or so, my interests have definitely evolved, and well, the fleet has kind of changed to suit. I made a pretty concerted effort midway through this year to really rein in my pretty reckless spending on builds that I was literally just building for this channel and I would never ride again. And in that process of reining in that very reckless spending that was getting me nowhere, really looking at some of the bikes that I had, whether or not I was riding them, and then making the decision to sell those off, I'm really, really proud to say, like, this month, after all that, I'm now debt-free. I was able to use that money, rein in that reckless spending to just not get myself further into debt, pay back my line of credit, get my credit cards paid off. I'm now at square one. And that is an awesome feeling. So on that absolutely fantastic note, I'd like to start with the fruits of my 2023 financial discipline. This is my 2019 Verna VIP 401. It's a new bike that starts every single time I walk up to it, touch the button, and go ride it. It's the best. I got it in October. I got I put about 1,000 kilometers on it. I just kind of couldn't stay off of it until the snow started falling. I got one ride on it in December just because I felt I kind of needed to. I cannot wait to start incorporating this thing into as many of the vlogs as I can. All from, instead of trying to chase a build that's gonna bring me to the next level, reining it all in. All right, next one. I think we'll stick with things that have motors just to get them out of the way first. This is my Ride One Up Rev 1 electric moped thing. It's the best.
It's the best thing in the world.
It's the hardtail version. It's basically stock. I modified the rear fender a little bit. However, not stock is the stem and handlebar. These are the far headspace stem, and the bar is called the Super Wide. Literally in yesterday's video, we were beating the crap out of this thing on some like little dirt jumps and stuff. The most fun thing I have on two wheels, where I'm not like, I don't have to pedal and I'm not trying to do like tricks. This thing is way too fast for its own good when you have it set up on off-road mode, which I have it on all the time. I never ride a public road like that, but when riding off-road like I do, man, this thing is quick. Like, you get ups and look, some people do big motor conversions on these. I see no reason to do that. The only thing I want is another battery where you like connect them together and you just get more range. That's all I want. I really love this thing. I really like e-bikes in general, honestly. And for the longest time, I was like a little bit afraid to make content with it because I don't know, I just figured people would get upset. But I'm slowly coming out of that shell a little bit. I'm like introducing more of this thing into videos and having a ton of fun doing it. Bike number 3, and this is actually the last e-bike to show you right now. The other e-bike that I own, which is a Ride One Up Gravel Edition, V2 Edition, I have lent out to someone else. But this is the lent to me Polygon Siskiyou T7E. I am hopeful that maybe I get to like keep this somehow. I definitely can't afford to buy it, but if I can work out a way that I get to keep it, then I'll be like really happy that it is in this fleet checkup. The only thing I did to this was flip the flip chip to make it a little taller and steeper in the head tube for some of the trails I was riding while I was in Moncton, which was absolutely the right choice. And I set it up tubeless. Beyond that, it is totally stock. I love everything about this bike when it's warm out, but when it gets cold, the fork freezes right up, it becomes rigid, and I start to kind of loathe it a little bit. But if I was to keep it, I'd change out the fork or see if someone could make it better for cold weather performance. Otherwise, happy to leave it the same. Maybe once these pedals wear out, I'd get some pedals. Bike number 4 is gonna be my dirt jumper. So this is a 2011 Giant STP that I upgraded and took all the really bad working parts off of it. I can't believe how many hours I spent on this bike all summer. The summer before, the dirt jumps just weren't very good, but we once we got them all finished up this year, it was four nights a week, maybe 5 nights a week that all of us dirt jump homies were at the jump. I became a significantly better rider on this BMX and honestly probably my e-mountain bike and Mr. Relatable as well because of this bike. I owe a lot of my progression this year to this thing. You need to get a dirt jumper. I promise you it will make you a better rider. Sorry if it seems like I'm just like plowing through I'm trying to make it a little less. All right, let's do my BMX. So this is my BMX, kind of my pride and joy, if I'm honest, especially this time of year because we ride the ramp indoors quite a bit. It's basically built up with a very generous amount of Merit parts, Merit wheels, seat post, seat, stem, pedals, you know, basically all the accessories that you kind of ask for minus cranks because I don't know why. This was originally built up with a straight cable and no pegs. And I was kind of jumping back and forth from my Sunday BMX build to this We the People. And it was just like the geometries were so different between the two bikes. And what I really wanted to be riding was this thing. But I didn't really like riding it because the straight cable was just annoying for bar spins. And I figured, why do I have 2 BMXs when this is the one I want to ride? Why don't I just put the gyro and all the parts that I really jive with onto this thing and just ride this. So that's what happened. And I think it looks really, really great, honestly. If you're getting interested in BMX from these videos, I've been getting a few of those comments. Thank you for sharing those with me. It makes me feel really good. I appreciate it. If you're looking for some parts, please do check out Merit BMX. I've got them linked below. They are a huge supporter of the builds on this channel, and it really, really helps out a lot. And I'd like it to be worth their while for doing so. How good does that look? I freaking love it. All right, what do we have? I think 6. Number 6 is going to be the Heap. This is my current heap of parts that I'm calling my mountain bike marathon rig. Kind of the focus of the channel for the last 20 uploads, 21 uploads. As you know, as a regular viewer, I've got big plans for 2024 requiring a bike like this. To be totally transparent, I have reached out to a couple companies to see if they want to support the efforts. So the hope is that this isn't the one that I end up doing it on, but of course it does exist. If need be, I'll throw some upgrades at this, but fingers crossed I'm riding something like full suspension, more modern. But the stand-in, this heap of parts. This is Rawstercross. I definitely don't need to go over this bike again. This is Mr. Relatable. He is the new CEO of this entire company. Mr. Relatable is the coolest bike that I own. I love this thing because it has very, very little branding on it. It sticks out like a sore thumb because of the skinny steel tubes. It turns heads everywhere. Everybody wants to know what it is. What the heck is that? What's on it? That's the reason why I have like all the branding taken off of it, because I like when people are wondering. Also, yesterday during Gear Gab, I was talking about not ordering like all these parts for a bike that I'm never going to use because that's an absolute waste of money. A bike that I am going to use and parts that I am going to use is the Tidal mountain bike gyro that's going on this bike. Should be here mid-January. See, that was a good purchase. It's something I actually want. There's going to be some people who disagree with me over this being the coolest bike on the channel, but yes, this one is the coolest one. This guy right here, this is fun. Last year, actually 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to design a hardtail frame for Poseidon, which is amazing. And this is what we ended up coming up with. The inspiration coming from a lot of the like mid-travel hardcore hardtails that were out there. I just loved the idea of a hardtail with the geometry for going downhill that could also like hit jumps, you could do tricks with, all the stuff that, you know, most entry-level bikes don't do. Most entry-level bikes are like, you know, most entry-level bikes are cross-country bikes, and a lot of people find themselves wanting to go ride bike parks or trying all these different things, and I want to create an offering with Poseidon that that would allow for that. What it isn't that great at is like techie, slow, cross-country style stuff. So once bike park season kind of ended, like a lot of the trails that are maintained by crews are like, hey, please don't come ride here right now. Once that ended, I was like, okay, well, this thing is a shred sled. It just needs its season back. And I will never put a set of drop bars on one of these. Never. Next up is the Far Twin T, which annoyingly enough still has a flat from our last outing. So this frame, fork, and a lot of Far parts were sent to me by Darcy over at Far and Wide Distributors here in Canada. And I've just kind of been using it to like play around with different setups. The frame shape on this is very interesting. It's very trellis framey. It's like motorcycle-y inspired. Kind of reminds people of an old SE BMX, which makes sense because the guy who builds these frames at Far is an old BMXer. So a lot of the inspiration comes from like motorcycles and BMX, and they do a lot of BMX race products, so it does make sense. Yeah, just need a tire on this thing and ready to go again. And finally, the 98% complete, Just Us Coffee Roasters sponsored Trek 8500 build. Yes, the Trek 8500, the longest, probably one of the more expensive builds that has ever been featured on this channel. There's honestly a lot of videos about this bike giving you every bit of information you could possibly want, but this is the only 90s bike I have in the fleet now. And it's a better one because it has a threadless 1 1/8 head tube and fork, 27.2 seat post, modern drivetrain, good wheels with a 10-speed free hub body, new, easy-to-use cantilever brakes, just like a 90s mountain bike frame without all of the stuff that make 90s bikes the worst. So this one is very good. Now I just need to try and get a thumbnail shot. One of those will work. Okay, that's all of them that are in the fleet right now. If you're updated, I honestly don't know how to end this video.